Hi, I'm Lovely. Today I'm going to make a video that I did not see myself making ever. I am going to be ranking the Grand Theft Auto games from my least favorite to, well, my favorite. Context for my relationship with the series: I grew up on it. I played Sim with 3 and thought this was the most detailed face that the world ever saw. I remember talking about 4 with my classmates in the 4th grade when the teacher asked us, "What are you most excited for this Christmas?" I even remember waiting for my turn to come up when me and my sister would eventually play GTA 4 with our dad. I will never forget the hours of watching her play by the rules, waiting for the lights to turn green, committing not murder. It was painful. I then remember the hype that was GTA 5 when it came out freshman year, and oh god did I play the hell out of the single player and online. Anyway, why didn't I see myself making this video? Well, the only GTA game I had finished up until last year was GTA 5. While I did start a decent chunk of the GTA games, I had never finished them. I have this issue with starting and finishing games on the older side. Not because they're bad or anything, but I just don't feel too invested if I'm not playing them when they initially come out. I might play it for a couple days or so, but if I don't somewhat force myself to keep playing it in the first week of me trying it, I drop it. I did that with the original version of San Andreas, and I also did that with Red Dead Redemption 1, once I gave that a chance after finishing the second one. It's sadly just a thing I deal with. But something happened. GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas were all remastered, and I finally decided that this was the time to finally play and complete these games, and as of 2024, I have finally done it. Now, I should clarify, I will only be ranking GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, 4, and 5. I will not include Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, The Lost and the Damned, The Ballad of Gay Tony, or any of the many side games that exist in this franchise. I just wasn't interested in the first two, and sadly I do not own the GTA 4 DLCs. I would have maybe gotten them, but they were full price on Xbox, and well, I'm good. I will just assume those are good, but I will not be including them in this ranking. Okay, I have said a lot, and the actual ranking of the game should be soon, but let me say a couple final things before we begin. First, this isn't going to be an in-depth review or study of the games. I might have a lot of feelings on certain parts of specific games, but I'm going to keep things mostly short. There is nothing wrong with in-depth reviews, but this is not that video, and I currently have no plans to break down any of the games in that way. Second, while this is a simple ranking video, I will also be saying my wants/expectations for GTA 6 since, well, I have an opinion now on what I like and dislike with the games. I should also add that my feelings on these games were a lot more complicated than I thought, and while certain games may be lower on the list, some of them will have my favorite aspects in the series, and I will do my best to point them out. Anyway, let's get started. Let's rank the games. At my least favorite in the series, the bottom of my list, 5th place, Grand Theft Auto 3. Genuinely, I do not have much to say on this game. I thought it was okay. Pretty annoying a lot of the time, nothing special, but honestly there just isn't much. I did play this via the Definitive Edition, and I actually have a lot more to say on that than the specifics of the game itself. First, the Definitive Editions get a lot of shit, like just tons, and I can't say they're wrong because they aren't. There are issues in these games because of them, like the tone being different / textures being fucked up, along with many other things that I don't know about. But I can only stress this so much. The Definitive Edition did not ruin this game, or Vice City, or San Andreas. While there may be issues that come from the way the games were remastered, I cannot tell you with a straight face that this game is good. Specifically talking about this one. This is not a deep game. It's goofy and cartoony. I'm following cars that are dropping spinning items in the road. This is not a deep drama. I can't take it serious, which is fine, but I always hear about how these games were ruined, and I just don't feel that way at all. I said it before, but let's talk about the many texture issues. Now, I didn't see any in my playthrough, but I do remember watching videos on the topic, and I know for a fact that they are there. Just because I didn't see or experience them doesn't mean I think there aren't any. I am going off the assumption that they are there. I did not do my research because I don't need to. I could just assume they are there and be done with it. After saying all of that though, am I bothered by these? No, because I am not someone who cares too much about graphics or that sort of thing. Yes, a joke on a billboard might be ruined or something might look odd, but that just doesn't bother me. My experience was not ruined because I couldn't see a dick joke or some sort of pun on a billboard. A lot of the things that bothered me in the game are things that I can confidently assume are in both/all versions of the game, and I will judge it off of those. In conclusion, issues that people talk about when it comes to the Definitive Edition, while probably true and valid, aren't things that bother me. I don't know specifics when it comes to the PC versions, or mods, or bugs, but I have the belief that these games are just fine, and that the experience in all of them, 3, Vice City, San Andreas, were not ruined by the Definitive Editions. If you haven't played these yet, I think these are a good option. That being said, if I have an issue with the game and it turns out it's actually from the remasters and I didn't know it, oops! Oops. Anyway, GTA 3 is a very okay experience and it ends with a women talk too much joke. I don't think that highly of it, and I don't have much else to add. Plot is pretty cool though. In 4th place, GTA Vice City. Now, this is a lot lower than I thought it would be on the list. The impression I had of this game before I played it was that people considered this the best game in the series. I didn't know why. I was very curious, and now after playing it, I think it's okay. But I can see why it's so high on other people's lists. It's very rapid, fast, which was one of my favorite things about it. I could even say that maybe I might replay it in the future, but let me talk about why it's so low on my list. Kinda like GTA 3, I just don't think it's that good. I think if I played this when I was younger and had it a part of my childhood or even teenhood, I think I would hold it in a much more special place, which is fine and completely valid. But I didn't get to experience it that way. This game was a chore a lot of the time. I didn't like the shooting or combat, and in fact, dreaded any moment I would have to fight or shoot anybody, which this is GTA, it comes up a lot. The lack of checkpoints and missions was one of the hardest things to deal with, and I thought the story was decent at best. Like, yes, taking over all of Vice City, beating the mob, and Lance Vance is badass, but this felt very bare bones to me, which isn't me saying this is bad. This game was made in 9 months. I will have a lot of negative things to say about these games, but let's not forget that these are impossible accomplishments and should be praised non-stop. That being said, it was okay. I certainly like it a lot more than 3, but that isn't saying much. Overall, decent game with a protagonist that is a lot more fun to talk about than to actually play. Like, he's cool, Tommy Vercetti of Vice City, iconic, etc., but I didn't feel much playing them. Anyway, on to the next one, which may surprise some folk. In 3rd place, GTA 5. I thought this was going to be a lot higher. In fact, I thought this was going to be at the top of my list before I played all the games. Now, I have so much to say on this, but a lot of what I have to say is related to GTA 4 and San Andreas, so I will save comments for those when I get to those games. Simply put, I'm just not into this game too much. Now, in its defense, it has a lot going against it that isn't necessarily its fault. It's been out for like 10 years. I played it a lot back in the day, enough to the point where it's more boring than cool. And I had just done the other games before this back to back to back. I could just be tired of GTA. It isn't the game's fault. That being said though, I still think I wouldn't be into it too much anyway. Again, it's stuff that's mostly related to San Andreas and 4, so I will save my thoughts for when I get to those games. I will say this does have the best combat of the series though. I said it in the Vice City part of the video, but I did not like the combat of these games up to this point. I always had a rough time with the aiming, the auto-lock, and I just didn't like it. I also didn't like having to go get armor and health before every mission in the games before this, and after playing all of these games back to back, I really found myself despising that system. It's still in this game, but with the newly added health regen, I found myself almost never going to ammunition to get armor. Big fan. I will say though, it was a little sad to almost never think of it. Like, there were a lot more armor options and stuff, but because I didn't need them, they felt very irrelevant to me. Which I guess is kind of what I wanted, but still made me feel kind of weird about the whole thing. Anyway, I know they matter a lot more in online, but I'm not focusing on that aspect of the game for this review. I might say more on it later, but it's not a focus. Overall, I can't say the game does anything wrong, but it's just not for me anymore. I genuinely hope I never play it again. 2nd place, GTA San Andreas. This should be at the top of the list, and if it's at the top of yours, I completely understand. Man, did I love this game a lot more than I thought I was going to. You could really see the jump in quality going from Vice City to this. Checkpoints and missions exist, the map is not only gigantic but diverse. LA, San Francisco, and Las Vegas are all in this game. I'm from California. This was wild to discover as I played the game, and I absolutely loved it. Going from this map to the GTA 5 version of it is just wow. Like, sure, it's cleaner and stuff, but it doesn't even compare to what this game was able to do. I love this map, and it's easily my favorite of the series. I don't even think GTA 6 will beat it. Other things? The story was nice. Mostly the stuff with CJ trying to get out of this life, along with the Riot storyline that comes in near the end of the game. There's a lot of silly stuff in this game that I don't really care for, but the story really had me at the edge of my seat near the end. It's one of my favorites, and I'm glad they covered the topics of police corruption and power, along with the other things in this game. Overall, I love this game, but it's held back by just one thing: the combat. It's at its best here when it comes to the 3D universe, but it is still very frustrating to navigate, and it's the biggest reason for my lack of enjoyment in some areas of the game, and it's why I don't want to go back and play it. It wasn't all bad, but it was bad enough. Anyway, let's talk about my favorite Grand Theft Auto game. In first place, GTA 4. I had this game on my bucket list for years. I tried to start it again and again, and I could just never do it. This was the one that I was excited for most when I got the idea to finally finish this franchise, and I have to say, I really loved it, and I am really happy to have finally finished it. Though, let me talk about the negatives because there are big ones. Liberty City sucks. I think this might be the worst map of all the games. Now, I don't remember GTA 3 too much, so I'll try to be fair, but going from LA, San Fran, and Las Vegas to this, what happened? I did not like most, if not all, of the city. There wasn't anything interesting to look at for the most part, there wasn't too much variety until maybe the final islands, and even then, it was just disappointing. That wasn't the only thing in this game that was disappointing though. The story. Now let me clarify. I love Nico. He's probably my favorite protagonist, and I love the story that he has with revenge and not wanting to kill. Enough to the point where even after I finished the game, I made sure to save without killing anybody else so that canonically, my Nico doesn't kill anybody else, ever. I love this character and his journey throughout the game. That being said, I don't care for a lot of the other things going on in this game. I love Roman and Michelle, but all that stuff goes away after the first act for the most part, and I'm just with a bunch of randoms for almost all of the game. I like the choice aspect a lot. It happened a few times in this game where you choose to kill between two people, and I absolutely loved it. But I really just wasn't into the character / the point of them at all. I will say this though, that is a me thing. My feelings of not caring about the middle stuff in the story applies to almost if not all of the Grand Theft Auto games. It just isn't interesting to me. Maybe I like 5's middle, but in general for the series it isn't a highlight. Something else that isn't a highlight, the driving. It's at its worst in the series here. I always heard about it, and I thought I would be fine, like yeah, it'll probably be bad, but not like game-breaking bad. No, it sucks. I think I got used to it by the end, but no. I'm not a fan. I have a few other things that I dislike, but they don't matter as much. I think I covered my main issues with the game. Now it sounds like I hate this, right? Why do I love this game so much? Well, I don't think it's talked about enough when it comes to GTA, but there is a simulator aspect to these later games that I really enjoy. For example, in GTA San Andreas, you could work out with CJ and you have to keep coming back daily to keep the desired look you want. That's awesome. It may not have an effect on anything, but it keeps you playing. It keeps you invested. That isn't in this game, but the simulator part is. Instead of the workouts that keep you occupied during free roam, you have hangouts, you have friendships and relationships that you have to keep at a good level. Again, they don't really have an effect on the game, you can ignore them and be mostly fine, but if you're into it and invested, my god is it fun. It was my favorite part of the game. It should be said though that there is a lot of annoying things that come with this hangout system. It isn't always convenient. You'll be given a minute to meet up with someone and you might be across the map. That's not fun. Maybe you don't even want to partake in the system, but for the whole game you'll get calls about it, even after the story. So, while I do love it, it does have its issues. I think the system might be handled better in 5, but I didn't play enough of it so I can't really say, but I will just assume that they did it better there. Anyway, this brings me to a topic I want to talk about, and that is details and removed features. I have a lot to say, and I want to explain my thought process on this. So, example. You can do workouts in San Andreas, but not in GTA 4. Does that mean it's worse? At least to me? No. I did explain how I see them as the same thing since they serve the same purpose in my eyes, so the fact that workouts didn't return didn't really faze me that much. Okay, what about swimming underwater? You can do this in San Andreas, but not in 4. Does that mean it's worse? Still no. Why? Well, I don't find swimming that fun, in the slightest. It doesn't do anything for me other than cause inconvenience because there is usually a mission or two based around it just to show it off. But yeah, it's just not for me. I don't even like swimming in GTA 5. Like, yes, it's cool. Yes, they have worked their asses off, but it just isn't what I would play these games for. In GTA 5, there is a submarine you can control. Do I think the others are less fun or worse because they don't have a submarine? No, because I would never use it. It's just not the thing that interests me. So while there may be features cut or removed, I'm usually not bothered by their absence. Here's one more. In GTA 4, you can pick up objects off the ground. You can't do this in 5. Do I think any worse of it? No. The only time I would ever use this feature was in the mission that it's introduced in. I can't pretend that these games are better/worse than each other because of the specific features I just talked about. I hear them brought up a lot and I wanted to say my piece on the subject. In short, I can't say I had less enjoyment in a game because I couldn't pick up a pointless rock. Though, that's just me. Maybe if GTA 4 had workouts or swimming underwater or etc., it would be even more amazing and I'm wrong. I could absolutely see that, so despite me just saying how much I am fine with certain specific features not being in this game, I think it's okay if it bothers you that they aren't, because ultimately, how is it not an issue? It is less content, there is no excuse unless there is. The behind the scenes for these games are yikes from what I hear. Anyway, those are my feelings there. I should say though that this doesn't apply to everything and I am not excusing other features that actually make the game less when they're cut. I think the physics in this game are incredible. You can shoot guns out of people's hands, people respond a lot more to the specific areas that you shoot them in, and I think GTA 5 is less because this just isn't there. There are probably countless things this can apply to, but if I talked about them we'd be here all day. I'll just leave it at that for the most part. Just know that while I may excuse some things, it doesn't mean I excuse others. For example, I think the actual free roam part of this game sucks. You can't get haircuts or tattoos. You can't get more properties until near the end of the game where it's almost pointless. There are a lot of questionable decisions in this game and I honestly should do some research because I would love to understand why. It's really interesting to me. So, I just said a lot, and I haven't even talked about why I love this game so much. I did say a couple of things, but it sounds like I've just been dogging on it for the most part, and for that, I thank you for being patient. Why do I love this game so much? If it has the worst city, the worst driving, questionable pacing, why do I like it? Well, a lot of things, but mostly the detail and tone. I love the tone of this game. Yes, there's still silly stuff, like a lot, but the story with Nico and him forcing himself into this life that he just hates is riveting. The way he yells during combat after murdering someone to show that he hates what he's doing is incredible. The performance from the voice actor, the writing, all of it goes together so well. Despite me playing it only a little bit before, I never forgot the beginning of this game and just the feelings it gave me. I am biased. Maybe if I didn't play this when I was younger I wouldn't care about it. Like, I didn't care for GTA 3, but maybe this is how people felt when they played it. I can't see it, but I can try to understand it. Like, if this game got remastered, which I wouldn't mind in the future, and it was just brighter along with a few other additions, I would be bothered. I love how this game feels. The combat, while not my favorite, is still amazing. The guns sound heavy, the action is intense. I think mechanically GTA 5 is still my favorite when it comes to the combat, but I would want to be in forced combat much more. It's amazing. It's the reason why I don't enjoy the tone of 5 too much. I go from this tonally dark story to GTA 5 where within the first 30 minutes, I am fighting aliens after smoking weed. There is nothing wrong with how GTA 5 handled its tone. It made a choice, which I believe was because of how this game was received when it came out, to be more on the wacky side, and there is nothing wrong with that, but it's not for me. You always hear about which is better, GTA 4 or 5, and you can go back and forth all day repeating the same things that everyone has said for years now, but in the end it's just preference. If someone wants to claim that they have more fun planning heists with friends, dressing up in silly costumes, and doing the wackiest thing in the world, that's valid. How could it not be? It's just preference. For example, I love the story between Michael and Trevor, but there is a layer of exaggeration when it comes to the character of Trevor and just the overall hijinks he gets into. I'm not into that at all. It doesn't do it for me. When I was younger it did. Trevor going blah 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 in the prologue was hilarious as a teenager. Him having a teddy bear that he sleeps with was hilarious, I guess, but for me now, not anymore. I have learned that I have an overall preference for a more darker/serious tone, and that is why GTA 4 is at the top of my list. I also love the detail in this game. I laughed my ass off when I crossed a bridge and I got cops on me because I forgot to pay the toll. That is amazing. It's so fucking funny. Going on multiple dates with Michelle and seeing her comments change based off what I was wearing was badass. She even makes other comments if you wear the same clothes again. There's a lot more to comment on, but I don't think it matters too much. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, other than to get my opinions out there and just have fun ranking the series, was to just talk about the politics of which one is the best and how I think it's a little silly. Though, maybe I can't judge too much if I'm going to make a long-ass video on it. Overall, while I wanted to love it a lot more, I can confidently say that GTA 4 is my favorite. Thank you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching so far. The ranking part of this video is over. If you liked what I had to say, thank you. If you didn't and you didn't see any of my points or just completely disagreed with how I viewed some things or everything, that's cool too. I appreciate you even checking this out. Unless you're lame. Then thanks for the attention but less thanks for your thoughts. Anyway, GTA 6. I will keep this brief, but my biggest hope for the next game is that it chills out a bit when it comes to the tone. I would like a more serious / less wacky kind of game. Now, do I think they will calm down? Sadly, I don't see why they would. I think it would be impossible for Rockstar to see how GTA 5 performed and think to themselves, maybe we shouldn't do this for the next game. It made $1 bajillion. It honestly doesn't matter what they do, they will make $1 bajillion more. That is my hope though. I hope they calm down a bit. I will say, I am comforted by the protagonist already. It seems like they're going to give a genuine go at a proper relationship, and to me that doesn't scream exaggerated protagonist, but it's way too early to say. Now, I am not done. I haven't been entirely truthful or open because I think if I shared this at the beginning of the video, I think people would assume I wasn't being fair. So yes, I did grow up on GTA, though there was another series that was considered a GTA competitor once upon a time. That series is Saints Row, and in 2014 Saints Row the 3rd was on Games for Gold and I was able to finally play the series for the first time in my life. Since then, I can confidently say I prefer Saints Row way more than GTA, and I actually think it does a lot of things better. I didn't want to bring this up earlier because I didn't want to be seen as just a Saints Row fan hating on GTA because he loves Saints Row so much. I did not factor my feelings on Saints Row at all when I made this video. I wanted this to be strictly the GTA series and compare them to each other. But if I did compare Saints Row to GTA, do you see what I may be getting at? It wouldn't be for a while, but if you're a fan of Saints Row, I have plans to make a video like this ranking the entire Saints Row series. And maybe even after that, a video ranking both GTA and Saints Row together. Thank you. That is my goal. Anyway, I had a lot of fun making this video and I look forward to making the next two. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you had a good time. I'm Lovely. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.